I'm recording on OBS. Are we ready to go?
I think so.
Yes, sir.
Okie dokie.
Do you want me on a backup? Because we haven't got YouTube backup.
Yeah, you can do. Better to be safe than sorry, you know.
I can do an audio only. How's that?
I do.
Give me a 1, 2, 1. Both of you.
1, 2, 1.
That'll do. That'll
Right,
do, pig.
perfect.
That'll do.
All right, here we go. Hello and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 354. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Matt P. Video. Matt, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. You came to me first again. I think that's becoming the routine at this point, is that you come to me first.
Okay. Let me say it like this. If I do a routine and come to both of you, can we get out of the habit of saying, oh my God, you came to me first?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be
Let's
honest,
do that.
I like the habit of saying, oh my God, you came to me first.
I hate it. And the wonderful Mr. Kresh plays. Kresh, how are you? Too Fresh Kresh himself.
I'm doing good.
Yeah,
How are you, Mr. Boss Man?
Mr.
Mr. Boss Man.
I am A-OK. Thank you very much for asking. I do appreciate it. As your boss man, I appreciate you asking me how I'm doing. It reminds me of the time when I go into my local chicken shop and I say, hey, boss man, 2 pieces of chicken and chips, and how are you doing? And, you know, you're giving me that same feeling, Crash, so I appreciate it. I feel like I haven't spoken to you guys in ages, and yet it feels the other day. It's one of those weird ones. I know. We've got pretty good.
Honestly, yeah. It's I think it's just a thing that happens when you podcast, because like ever since me and you started doing My Xbox and Me, I feel like that slowly happened to me and you. It's like we talked the other day, but it feels like we haven't talked forever.
Ever since we started the podcast, we no longer just speak about anything.
Yeah.
It's really sad. That's what happens when you podcast with your
You're
friends.
also busier as well.
Okay, that's true.
So
That's
it's
what I was
like
gonna say,
anytime
there's so
we
much
would
going
have to
on.
talk. Yeah.
Whatever. If you didn't know, My Xbox and Me is our weekly Xbox podcast right here on youtube.com/My Xbox and Me, and of course all podcast services. If you want the show early and a Patreon exclusive episode, you're over to patreon.com/MCFixer. If you are listening to this the day that it went out and beyond, doesn't really matter, you will be able to listen to our very first Patreon exclusive episode. We talk about all sorts of things. Go check it out. We talk about Marvel. We talk about a potential new job for myself. We talk about loads. Absolutely loads. So if you are someone who can afford to give a couple of bucks, I think we're putting it up at the $2 level, by the way. So if you're just someone who can afford $2, come over to patreon.com/MCFixer, help keep the lights on, and get yourself a piece of exclusive content while you are at it. Big shout out to our Patreon producers, Erin Guard and FNH Paul. Shout out to FNH Paul. He got COVID. I met up with him and then he got COVID.
Oh.
Yikes.
Why'd you give him COVID? Fix?
I didn't. It wasn't me. Just as he was about to leave the country, he got COVID.
So he's stuck here longer.
Yeah, but he was stuck in a hotel room.
Yeah,
as
Fix
far as
got
I'm
him
aware.
COVID.
I didn't want him to leave so bad that I was like, yo, time to get COVID, my homie. But yeah, shout out to him. Hope you're feeling much, much better. Topic of the show this week, boys. Xbox and Bethesda showcase set for June 12th. This one broke just after we finished recording last week's. Typical.
Yep.
Xbox and Bethesda have announced that their summer showcase, which would have been their E3 showcase, and it feels so weird to not call it that, will air on June 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and 6 p.m. UK time. This show will include the upcoming games to Xbox and PC, as well as Game Pass, of course. We got a couple of questions, so we'll bring them in straight away. And one from Indie Flick, who says, with Xbox and Bethesda's showcase getting a date, no doubt you guys will be planning some predictions. So, what are your top 3 most likely announcements? And alternatively, what would be top 3 of your personal lists? So this isn't predictions. So we're going to do a predictions episode on the week before, which I believe is the 3rd. If I've got my dates right. I believe it's the 3rd of June. So, I think I've got... 3rd of...
3rd
No,
of June will be a Friday.
Yeah, but I'm lying because the showcase is on the 12th.
The
So we can still
13th.
do the 10th. No,
Yeah.
12th.
Is it 12?
The showcase is on the 12th. We will be recording.
So we can
on
do
the
it on the 10th. No. So we could, yeah. So we'll record on the 7th, which means we can do the prediction episode. Will be out on the 10th. Perfect.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Not only that, haven't spoken to the boys, but there will be a pre-show, post-show, and live reactions over on youtube.com/myxboxandme. That is where you will get to see at least myself, I can confirm, and I can confirm Kresh as well, but Matt, I don't know what he gets up to. Kresh, shut up. You already know. You have no choice.
Confirm nothing.
I can confirm. Kresh will be there, all right?
I'm sorry, boss man. We didn't have no conversation about this one.
Matt, you around to do a live reaction and all that?
My calendar's empty, so
Matt will be there as
Yes.
well. youtube.com/myxboxandme. Go and click the subscribe button over there if you want to see our live reactions and all that. But back to the question. Most likely announcements. Let's take one each. There's 3 here. Top 3, so let's take one each. Most likely announcements, number 1, I think, is we see Starfield. Obviously, we finally see Starfield gameplay. The game is due out very, very soon. Bethesda have obviously shown this is how they do things. We're going to see Starfield finally and actually see some gameplay and see all of the nooks and crannies of what it is we're actually going to be doing in this game that people are super, super, super excited for. You know, I'm lukewarm, but other people are super excited for it. You know, Kresh.
Yeah.
Matt, go on. What's the one on the tip of your tongue?
I was just gonna say Bethesda typically, I think, do very good gameplay demos when they sort of come out with them. I will always remember the Fallout 3 one. It's gonna be blown away with that.
Fallout 4. I thought the Fallout 4 one was really good.
Yeah.
I remember. Oh my god, base building, and then I never played it at all.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
With it being tied to Microsoft, do we think we get the same type of gameplay demo that we have in the past when it's been just Bethesda?
Yeah, because they did.
Okay.
Well, they literally the Fallout 4 one, the one that I'm speaking about, the base building and all that. That was all done at Xbox's showcase. That wasn't even done at their own showcase.
Was it?
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
okay.
That was
All
at
right.
Xbox's showcase, and they like Todd Howard come out on stage, and it was a whole because they did a
Oh, right. They
weird
announced
showing
the
at
mods and
Bethesda's
stuff like that as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, they
'Cause
had
at
the whole
Bethesda's one. They did a
build up to it.
very strange one where we're like, "Is that
Yeah.
it?" And then there was like, "See more at the Xbox showcase." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, no,
Right.
I think we
Okay,
get a
so then,
full on showing like we've had before. Yeah.
I think a good chance we get Avowed this year as well.
Okay.
I think it would be odd not to get Avowed at this point unless it's like super, super far off.
You mean see Avowed?
I see gameplay, not
Yeah.
get Avowed, but see Avowed, like get it as in showing it at a conference this year.
For a second, I thought you were on about like a shadow drop, and it's available at the end of the conference.
No. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, but no, that's not what I meant.
No.
So
I do think there is something like that though. Like when they did Fallout 4, I think it was still at the Xbox conference. They announced Fallout Shelter and dropped it there and then. And so I think we get something dropped straight away at the end of the conference.
So, do you think it's like a mobile game or like some sort of smaller
Could be
experience?
a Halo map or mode, or I don't know. It could be
oh,
anything.
okay.
Like,
So you're not saying
you're
just a
talking
game. You're talking about
Xbox,
something.
not-
Something will get, and that's save that for the prediction episode, man. Save it for the prediction. Save it for prediction. What is your guaranteed? You're not going to predict it, so you might as well say it right now. One that.
oh, I don't know. That's hard to do something that I wouldn't predict on the thing.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
do predictions.
that's-
Obviously, it's super
I
easy.
did a prediction.
My predictions are always out there and wacky because it's boring.
I want to
otherwise.
win this year.
Yeah, I want to win
wanna
this year
this
bad. I really.
So
wanna win.
I want to get this out the way. Are we doing wacky and out like not obvious predictions, or are we doing obvious predictions to get points?
What I think we should do, because we've got a dedicated audience now that will actually call us on our bullshit, unlike other years where we've sort of made it up as we've gone along. I think we let somebody. I'm not gonna lie. I'm putting a little bit of pressure on him here, but I reckon Original Cookie Man comes through, and he comes through with the point system. You know what I mean? I'm talking like we can say whatever the hell we want, and like he will determine how good your answer was compared to your prediction. And again, putting a lot of pressure out there on him. But he's a very well-spoken human being. I've seen that in his emails. I think he could tally this up. I'm just saying.
So his word is final.
I think he definitely could.
I think
if he says you don't get a point, you don't get a point. If he says you get 0.2 points, you get 0.2 points.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if he's giving you 0.3 of a point, I mean, that's what you're getting at. But yeah, I'm going. We do 5 usually, don't we? So I always go with 2. This is never going to happen, and then 3,
and then 3,
possibly.
3.
That's what I do. But you have, you do you, because
no, I don't want you to go like super out there with your predictions, and then me go super out there, like me keep it like very like we're gonna get Avowed and we're gonna get Starfield. No. I want to be in line with the predictions.
I mean, you can do that and be I won't say I won't say the word on the podcast, but you know exactly what I'm referencing. You could be one of those if you want to, Matt. But me personally, I'm not gonna do that.
I think I barely scored a point last year. If my memory serves.
And you was barely scored a point.
Yeah, that is
last year was horrible.
Yeah,
and I can guarantee you, one of my predictions will not get a point, as it doesn't every single year.
Just a dud, a big old dud. Like,
yeah.
I think another surefire one just to top off the top 3. I think we see Forza Horizon. No, not Horizon, just Forza Motorsport. I think that's a given. If I'm being honest with you, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially with like the year that they've had, and Forza generally comes out almost every year.
It's usually every other, right? So you usually get your Horizon and you get your Motorsport, and give or take. But yeah, it's I think the 3, I think they're pretty much guaranteed. What would be your number 1 personal one? Not, again, this is not on a prediction, but like you can have whatever you want at this showcase. What would be the one guaranteed? If you say Digimon, Kresh, I'm punching you in the throat. I swear to God, if you say Digimon, you're getting punched.
I was going to say Digimon.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Of course you know. Everyone should know. It's going to be Killer Instinct.
Oh my God.
There's no doubt. It's going to happen this year. It's going to happen. You'll hear about it again when we do the prediction episode.
You know what my big personal one would be?
Go on.
We see a train fly past the screen. Cloud lands on it, launching January 1st. Matt wins a pizza day.
Yeah, imagine. You're like January 1st on Game Pass.
On Game Pass.
You're so petty. You're so petty. What the hell? I think mine would be I've been saying it, but like that not Undead Labs. We see Compulsion's game, and it's actually like sick. I've been saying for a while since I watched that Compulsion Games documentary that I have a really good feeling about their next game. Don't ask me why, but something's telling me it's gonna be good. So that would be the one for me personally. If I can, that would be top of my list because I want to be proven right. You know, I love being right. So we'll see.
It is.
I mean, Kresh, you know me. I love being right.
I would love a proper good look, extended look, and I don't necessarily think it'll be here, but at Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think is that announced for Xbox and PlayStation right now? Or consoles, like in general?
I don't hope so.
Think so.
Don't do this to me.
I don't recall it being announced on consoles. I could be wrong about that, and I know XCOM did come to consoles, but that happened sometime after.
Midnight Suns, yeah, it's coming out on Switch. Is it?
Okay, no. I don't know. I don't recall.
I swear it got shown it's coming out on Switch and all this rubbish.
Very, very possible. I just don't recall it.
Chris, you just deleted the question, but you're going to put that question back in the thing?
I'm going to put it. It's not a question for
I know. I'm just scared, man. You scared me, Chris. You're scared.
Oh, no. Yeah. I'm moving it because I didn't want you to read it and get lost. Yeah,
I don't get lost.
Yeah.
Midnight Suns is coming to everything, including Switch and PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Okay. You don't know what he's talking about.
I just didn't. No. I was very open-ended that I did not recall it getting announced for console. That's all I said.
Okay, fair enough. Are you guys excited at all for this showcase?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's still E3. We're all still pretending it's not E3.
It's not E3.
No.
Nobody's pretending it's
E3. Nope.
Nobody's pretending it's E3.
Nope.
Everybody
E3.
complained about E3, and then everybody wanted E3 back, and then E3 came back, and everybody's like, "Why is E3 coming back?" Nobody feels like it's E3 here no more. Nobody feels anything.
Talk that talk, Kresh.
It's
Talk
just
that talk. That's the
Xbox
facts.
conference at this point.
Yep. And yeah, I'm
hyped.
I think this year is going to be a year of a good amount of gameplay from Xbox.
You think we see Indiana Jones?
They've shown a lot. No.
That's a
I don't think
prediction
we see that
episode
at
conversation.
That is.
Yeah.
You're right. Let's move on. Let's move on to Fix and Sack. Remember, you can email in my Xbox and Me podcast at gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter at MCFixer, at MattPVideo, at Kreshnik Plays with the hashtag MXAM. Or you can be in the Discord, which is in the description below of this audio podcast and the video. So go and join the Discord. Have a bit of fun there. First question comes from, I believe it's Jesus. I'm going to say it like that. Yeah. With the roadmap of Halo Infinite being shown, and fans upset that some features that were promised long ago, such as co-op and Forge, are still a ways away, do you think 343 and other Xbox studios are in need of a smaller support studios that could work alongside the main studio to keep content coming? It's a great question. I don't know if smaller support studios are the thing they need. I think it's more a case of understanding the market better, right? And being better prepared. Like, you shouldn't talk about things that you don't have until you have them. You shouldn't even allude to them. You shouldn't even... It would have been... I think for me with Halo, especially Infinite, especially if you've played the game, you know exactly what we're talking about here, where it's like, if you just played the game and said, no, there's no co-op, and then... 6 months down the line, they were like, oh, now we've had a co-op, everyone would be super happy. But it's because it was spoken about beforehand. No?
No, not with Halo.
Okay.
If you announce there's no co-op in Halo, people would be just as mad, if not more mad.
But it makes sense.
Oh, no. We've had this conversation. It makes so much sense for this game not to have co-op. At least not out the gate, right?
Yeah.
It just, at 343 already has a very bad history with the hardcore. I'm gonna put hardcore in air quotes because it's a very small group of the Halo community, but a very loud group of the Halo community that essentially hates everything they do. And if they said there's no co-op, that group would have then blown it out of proportion, and it would have spread like wildfire everywhere. And 343 would have gotten a lot more flack for no co-op, no Forge, none of these stuff that are quote unquote promised because they've been in past games and they want to implement it in some
I agree with you on Forge. It's just the co-op stuff that I think someone even like me, I'm like, oh, that would have been a nice surprise 6 months, a year down the line, and then it's just there. But yeah, I don't know. Matt, what were you gonna say? Son, hit me.
No, I totally agree with Kresh. I think because co-op campaign is just so baked into the nature of Halo and the franchise,
but not of this game. Not of this game.
No. I know.
It's so obviously not meant to.
But it's
but it's so obviously not meant to be there.
I agree, but also if you look at, let's say Resident Evil, right? You viewed Resident Evil as a staple, a horror, survival horror type game, right?
Yep.
Then Resident Evil 4 and then especially 5 and so on and so forth become action games. They lose that element, and you don't like the fact they lost that element, correct?
Yeah.
And for some people, Halo is a co-op game, and that is the element they love about it.
Okay, I concede. Whatever. If they told me they were going to add an update to make it a horror game a year down the line, I'd be so happy.
Yeah. But that's the difference between a Resident Evil fan and a Halo fan. Yeah. Coming down the line is not enough for that.
If they were like, yeah, we're just going to remake this whole game, no problem. Okay.
I also think, though, down the line isn't that bad. It's the fact that it keeps getting missed now, right? And even Halo initially was delayed, and it's like, okay, well, that was a bit of smoke and mirrors because you wanted to sell the launch of the new Xbox, and but the fact that co-op and Forge now are just keep getting pushed, and they're like, here, have Last Spartan Standing instead, which I haven't tried yet, but
yeah, it keeps getting pushed, and there's an absence of other content the game needs.
Yeah,
which, to be fair to the point of the question, smaller support studios can help with that, but I think there's a danger with relying too much on smaller support studios where you get into the Call of Duty territory where you start making almost every studio a support studio for your biggest franchises. Not saying that Microsoft would fall into this, But we do see it occasionally happen with studios where a studio, instead of being able to work on their own stuff, they become designated support studios, which is an unfortunate thing, especially when you see talented studios go down that route.
For sure.
Next question comes from a little young lad named MC Fixer. Never heard of this guy before, but it says, "Hey guys, question for the podcast. Long-time fan, first-time writer. When the hell did Gears 5 have a map builder? And with them removing it, even I wrote this question, I still can't read it properly. With them removing it from the game, does this mean Forge mode will have the same fate? Thanks, MC Fixer." So
first of all,
okay.
First of all, this MC Fixer fella, not the biggest Gears fan, obviously, right? We can all agree on that. Not the biggest Gears fan.
I'm pretty.
You disagree, Fix?
I'm pretty sure he's a very big Gears fan. Very big.
I don't think so. Because a very big Gears fan would have remembered the fact they had a map builder.
He just didn't know.
Yeah,
This guy just didn't know. He just didn't know. He just missed that.
He's a fan of the posters. The cover art. The cover art's really cool. Whoa,
loves
bro,
the cover
this
art.
game's crazy.
All jokes aside. So I saw this on Instagram as I was on a train going to do some filming for something, and I literally saw this pop up on my Instagram. This guy's so not a fan. He follows the Gears of War Instagram, and I was just like,
it's easy to hit a follow button.
Okay, keep it 100 with me. Did you actually know Gears 5 had a map builder?
Yes.
Matt?
This is something that they pushed.
No.
Matt doesn't know anything about Gears 5. He hasn't even played the game.
Yeah, I've played like 2 hours of the game.
Good point. I was just a little shocked. I was like, oh, I didn't know this was a thing.
They had a map builder.
Oh.
And the map, you want to know why you didn't know it's a thing? Because the map builder is only for the escape mode.
Yeah.
It's the escape mode map builder. Yeah.
Now you've said that, maybe I do remember that.
Yeah, so even the question where you're like, will it be like Forge mode? Like, no, it's a map mode. It's a map maker for escape mode, and Forge is more than just a map maker as well. So,
I'm sure Fixer would say thank you for
answering Fixer will enjoy it.
Yeah.
Why are they removing it? Have they said?
They don't want to support it anymore. They're like trying to focus on the future of the game. And so there's like server stuff that they have to support because you can upload them, and I'm sure there's like technical issues or whatever. I think really it's just like this is acquiring a certain amount of effort that is not worth it. So we're just gonna stop doing it because we want to work on the next thing or whatever.
Sure.
And it's probably also not that big. It's probably not enough people to warrant them being like, this is something we should continue to support.
Okay. I think yeah, like clearly we don't know how these things work, right? And clearly this is more intensive, needs more manpower than I would have assumed it did, I guess.
I don't even know if it needs that much manpower other than the fact that nobody really played Escape to begin with, so I can only imagine what the numbers for Escape map builder are.
I played Escape.
Yeah, of course you did. You're a casual. Get out of here.
Calling Matt a casual is an insult to casuals.
That's a great point. Next question comes from Top Lift 91 and says, rumors speculating Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2 will be a next gen only. Do you guys think this is the right move, or do you think it will hurt the game's sales? It's 100% the right thing to do.
100%.
Like I don't. Yeah, I'm of the mind of, hey, old is old. So, like, and I'm in a very privileged position where I'm able to get hold of everything, and I have everything, and I'm a big baby, and I get everything that I want, and wow. But from a gameplay building perspective, from a development point of view, right, you want to be able to build to the best specs, the best PCs, the best game consoles, and you don't want to be limited with power, right?
I think people also forget that this game, and I might need correcting on this. I think I played this game pre-release, but when I played this game, it was bad. Like, it was worlds not loading in, falling through the floor, broken in places, bad.
It was a very, very buggy experience for me when I played it.
Exactly. And so, yes.
Yeah.
Next gen
I
only.
think also,
fine.
Consoles are way more readily available now. I know Xbox has been selling well. PlayStation also. Like, there's more PlayStations.
Let's hold there for a second.
Xbox has been selling crazy good.
Xbox, we don't like. To be fair, the news came out at a weird point for us where, like, it kind of missed us. But Xbox is selling amazingly. Like, better than the 360. That's how good the Xbox is selling right now. So congratulations to Xbox #1 for that.
Shout out to the Series S that 2 people on this podcast would recommend you guys not buy. So
I mean, Matt bought one, to be fair to him.
Yeah, and then Matt's like, I regret that.
He did say that. He did say that.
Yeah, you walked that back real quick, Matt.
He did say that.
You walked that back real quick, Matt.
I personally, no, and you know what? No, I didn't regret that decision.
Yes,
No, I bought a TV that was way too expensive, and then to justify that purchase, had to go and buy the Xbox, and it just so happened that the Halo Xbox launched at that time.
Let me just say, retrospective views on a situation don't change a situation in the moment where you walked back the Series S.
I would still recommend the Series S to the right person.
Which is?
It's always to the right person.
My dad.
Man said your dad.
No, like if you don't have a 4K TV and that kind of thing doesn't bother you, the S is an incredible choice.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you say, Matt. Whatever you say. No, I don't think it's gonna. Well, I mean, will it hurt sales? Yeah, of course it will technically hurt the sales because there isn't as many consoles out there, so potential buyers. But
you also have to remember that like this game isn't coming out probably for like another year or 2.
Yep.
So by then there'll be even more PS5s and Series X's and S's on the market. So
yeah. But do I think it's the right thing to do? 100%. I think we're all in agreement there.
Yes.
Next question. Origin Cookie Man says, I've recently watched a video arguing that the odd number entries in the Street Fighter series are cursed. What do you make of this? Do you think a similar curse applies to other franchises? Just Cause, Call of Duty, Resident Evil, Assassin's Creed, etc., etc., etc. I mean, I'm not a Street Fighter guy. Kresh, you're our fighting game expert. Like, is there any credence to this?
There's some credence to this.
Oh, there is? Oh, damn.
There is. Street Fighter 5, not the best. From my knowledge, Street Fighter 3, not the best. Street Fighter 1, I'm not entirely sure. A lot of Street Fighter games come out and they're not the best, and then they get fixed with subsequent versions, like Street Fighter 4 had Street Fighter 4 Ultimate. Not to say that Street Fighter 4 was bad, but they do get like turbo versions and stuff like that, which was very popular in the arcade area.
Yeah.
Time period for fighting games. I think this is an interesting topic that I don't think I necessarily agree with for most games.
Give me some examples of ones you don't agree with, because I'm trying to think of some, and actually...
Let me explain why. Because like a curse implies that like no matter what you do with the franchise, it'll end up being bad in an odd number. But I just think it's like ego from people who develop games sometimes, where it's like we had this really great game, we can just do the same thing or just sort of put out a game without as much effort, and we have that fan base, and then you go and put it out and it's not as successful.
The successful part I disagree with you on.
Not successful, but like critically acclaimed, I guess would be the better wording.
Well, yeah, I think Resident Evil 3 is like a big one for me, but the problem is Resident Evil 3 wasn't meant to be Resident Evil 3 because of contract obligations is why it was for Resident Evil 3. But then Code Veronica would have been free, and that means it would have been one of the best Resident Evil games ever made. So...
Do you put that down to a curse?
Maybe it's cursed.
Was Resident Evil 1 good?
Sorry, what was that?
What was Resident Evil 1 good?
Yeah, come on.
Resident Evil 5, not good?
No.
And everybody knows Resident Evil 6 is the best game ever, so this has to be true for Resident Evil.
That was kind of my problem here, but Resident Evil 5 is
Would you say
bad.
that Resident Evil 8 is better than Resident Evil 7?
Resident Evil 8 is better than... no. Resident Evil 7 is better than Resident Evil 8.
No, it's not.
It is.
Okay, Matt. Okay. Sure. Whatever you say, big man. Whatever you say. The reason I can say that is because I've not even thought about Resident Evil 8 since I beat it. Not even thought about it again. Like when I think Resident Evil, I don't even put that game in the series.
You know what you have to do, Matt? And like another half a year or a year, you have to convince Fix that he just
play
didn't,
again.
like he has to play the game again, and he didn't understand it the first time he played it.
I mean, it worked with Resident Evil 7. It worked with Resident Evil 7. Just saying.
When we get Resident Evil 8 announced at some point in fake E3, 9 announced at some point in fake E3, he'll have to go back and play it, won't he?
Probably. Yeah.
Will he?
Yes.
I don't think old game's old.
Resident Evil 2.
Call of Duty
amazing.
odd games cursed. I don't think Call of Duty odd games are cursed.
Well, no, because they kind of dropped the numbers as well. It's a hard argument to have. Okay, Final Fantasy.
Don't ask me.
Like
7 is an odd number. 7's fantastic.
7's amazing.
That's
there
what I
you
can
go.
tell you. 9's
Well,
good.
9's good. I was gonna say 9's like considered one of the greatest as well.
11's the MMO, which people loved back in the day.
Yep. I don't think this holds.
I think it works for Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And in certain cases, like Assassin's Creed, you can make the argument with
I was going to say Assassin's Creed
1, which I love, and then Assassin's Creed 3, which retrospectively, looking at Assassin's Creed 3, I don't think it's as bad as I remember, but I do think it's a big move away from what Assassin's Creed previously was, more into like the modern area.
Isn't Assassin's Creed 3 got like a 20-hour tutorial?
It has a long tutorial. It's like, I don't want to say how
I thought
long.
it's like 6 hours. Like, I'm
but
exaggerating. I think it's like 6 hours.
To say that it's a tutorial, I think it isn't fair to it, because it's a big story piece, and the reveal you get in the tutorial is big. The problem is, after you do that, they put you play the young main character when he's a child, and they put you through a second tutorial.
Oh, it's
what
always
it feels
bad.
like.
No.
And it's not great.
Gotcha.
I don't know for sure, but I bet Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, I think, is widely considered one of the best ones. I bet you're still getting pieces of tutorial 20 hours into that thing, because it's got so many mechanics in that game.
Yeah, but I agree, but pieces of tutorial and feeling like they put you through a whole second tutorial is different.
That is very different. But what I was going to say is you said you loved Assassin's Creed 1. When was the last time you played Assassin's Creed 1?
I played through it like 3 or 4 times when it came out. I haven't played through it recently. But if that's going to be your argument, most games fall off the older they get.
Yeah.
Most
100%.
And nostalgia carries you through it. I'm not somebody who nostalgia carries through much.
Facts.
Okay, fair enough.
Personally.
Moving on to the next question. A Wild Army says, with Sony not letting people stack up for their new subscription program, my question is, why do you think they do that? And do you think Xbox will ever stop us from stacking Game Pass? I personally think that Sony should let us stack up. I personally think Sony should let us stack us only because, Kresh, I'm going to knock you out. Move your cursor. Only because you are then tied to the ecosystem for X amount of time without renewing. Like I think I'm tied to Xbox till 2024. Also with Game Pass, the amount of time you can cause people to forget that they have a subscription, and then depending on if you do 1, 3, or a year, can really cause harm on your bank account if you forget. Why do I think Sony are not doing this? Because Sony are weird at the moment, man.
Not that they're weird.
They're weird.
The answer is very easy. No. Why does Microsoft let it happen?
Because they want to make
Microsoft
money.
is Microsoft. Microsoft is a very, very wealthy company.
Money.
That can take the hit of people. Do you know what stacking is? It's not when you buy multiple copies and you stack up 36 months. It's when you, stacking is when you buy like 36 months of gold, and then you get Game Pass Ultimate, and it converts all the gold to Game Pass Ultimate.
That's what I did.
So with Sony, it's like you could buy a certain tier or whatever, and they give you, I think it's PlayStation Now, and they'll give you the highest tier, which is more expensive.
That makes
and
way
for
more
Sony,
sense.
I think it really comes to the fact that Sony doesn't have as much money, and like Microsoft can take that hit, whereas Sony necessarily can't take that hit, because you have to remember PlayStation is the biggest earner for Sony.
Yeah, I think this on the other. Just now I understand what stacking up is. Sorry, I thought it just meant stacking the amounts. That
No.
you could buy.
They disabled it for right now. I'm pretty sure they'll enable it back when like the system's fully integrated.
Yeah, I mean, Xbox is just happy to have you. PlayStation know you'll be there.
I think we also need to remember that, like, we are in that, like, we talk about it, that top 1%, that top 0.1% of gamers that care about the industry in this way that know that that's even possible. Like, I don't think people are actually, like, a lot of people are actually doing this. I think most people are probably paying the normal amount, the yearly or the monthly even. And I think it's a very, very tiny minority that are, you know, using a VPN to buy gold through Brazil and then stacking it.
That's even more steps.
I mean,
that's a whole different thing.
Allegedly.
I'm gonna tell you, if you do that, Matt, or
no,
if anybody
don't put Matt on the bus like that.
I'm not gonna put Matt on that bus. But if somebody does do that, they should not do that, because you fuck up Brazil's prices for Game Pass and things like that. Their prices get inflated because people from America or the UK or whatever, where they have more money available. And I'm not talking about, I don't know Brazil's like financial, like how their economy is or anything like that. But people do that. I know they do that with Smite and stuff like that, where they will buy stuff in other countries through VPNs and stuff like that because they can get it for cheaper, and it messes with the prices of that place.
Exactly. And you know I'm not doing that. You know I'm on that Bing Point life.
That's very true. You are on that Bing Point life.
We forgot about the Bing Point life. We're sorry. Last question for this week in Fix the Stack. Top Lift 91 says, I've been rather fortunate in my gaming life to have had practically every console I can think of growing up, from Nintendo Entertainment System through to the current gen. My favorite of which was the PS2. Which was your favorite console growing up, and how would you rank your top 10? Top 10 is probably a bit faster. We'll do top 5.
That's long.
Yeah, I'll do top 5. To start off, my favorite console is probably the PS2. Is probably my favorite console of all time. If I have to, it's hard. It's a toss-up between the 360 and the PS2. The PS2 was such a important console in my childhood that I have extremely fond memories of. Like, having friends come over. I remember us playing the Lord of the Rings game, the Bouncer. Like, the list goes on. Like, the list goes on of how much I love the PS2. Where the 360 was the first time I ever played online. So that holds an even more special place in my heart. And obviously, without the Xbox 360, I'm not sat here doing this podcast. I wouldn't have that love for Xbox the way I bought Connect, and I've had it all when it comes to the 360. I went through the whole spectrum. I've bought the chat pad, I had headsets. Like, it just made me the gamer who I am today, the 360. But if I probably had to go hand on my heart, the 360 probably has better games, but the nostalgia of the PS2 probably sits with me a lot more, Minecraft. Bro, I remember when I first got Minecraft on the 360, man. That was a moment.
That's when Fixer became MC Fixer.
That isn't when I became MC Fixer. I was MC Fixer well before that. No, but I remember my mum screaming at me down the hall, like, shut, and I will swear here because I'm quoting my mum, which was, shut the fuck up. Because it's me and my friends screaming because there's a creeper coming by. When did Minecraft come out? Do the math. I was born in 92, so like I'm an old enough man at that point, where I should be screaming about creepers. But it just sits. That moment sits with me, I remember buying Haley her 360 and being like, "This is how we're going to communicate in our relationship. Like, we are going to jump on Xbox, and you're going to jump in an Xbox party with me and my friend Mickey and my friend Jack, and we're gonna play stuff." And she's like, I'm not playing anything. I've just got my Xbox on. My Xbox is just on so I can hang out with you guys. So maybe it is the 360. Maybe it's the 360. What about you, though, Matt? What would be your favorite console if you had to put hand on heart, pick one right now? Go.
I think it's the 360, because I think what you said is spot on. Like, it's the reason that I am the gamer I am today. Like, my mates who I talk about playing games with online, it's our version of going to the pub. That started with Call of Duty 4 on 360. And I think that might be the game that I've put the most amount of time into in my entire life. And so it's so special, like that integration with internet, and it just being so far ahead in that regard of the PS3 at the time. And it just worked, and it was great, and it was perfect, and it was everything you needed it to be. And I even remember when they did that like big UI overhaul, right? And actually, it just got better. Like, people bitched and moaned about it for a week or whatever because he didn't know where stuff was. But like, they went away from the blades, and people were mad about it.
The blades were so important, but not only that, dude. Demos back then were the shit. Like, I remember playing the Fight Night demo just constantly and being like, Mum, can I buy this? And she's like, no, we can't afford that. Play that demo, though. And I'm like, okay, I will, Mum, I will.
Also, I think
demos would last a lifetime back
dude.
Exactly, 100%. But and also, I think that like opened the world of like indie games as well, right? Like Geometry Wars and like other stuff that was on the Xbox Live Arcade. That kind of opened this other world that it's not just Call of Duty and FIFA and the other like big tentpole games that I was playing at the time.
I mean, The Walking Dead. Like, I remember when that came out and then being like, I wasn't into the Walking Dead TV show that heavily at that moment, but I remember playing the game. I remember I was at my uncle, Fishy, Kresh. I was at my uncle's house and he was like, oh, there's a Walking Dead game. Let's buy it now. And he used his Microsoft points. Yeah, you kids don't remember those. But he used his Microsoft points to buy the game. Like, I remember that. I remember.
Such a con.
Yeah, of course it was.
To be like, we're going to price our games so that you have to buy more Microsoft points than you need. Like, it's such a bullshit move.
Bro, I'm so glad we moved away from that. But I remember that. Go on, Gresh, please.
V-Bucks are still a thing, I was going to say. Like,
yeah,
it's
but
still
like,
happening.
No, but Microsoft have moved
different.
away from that.
Yeah. I also think it's different when you buy currency in a game because you know what you're buying in that game. Like, you are buying this currency. For Microsoft points, you're essentially buying money to spend money on Xbox. For me, it's a toss-up between two consoles, the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo, which, like, for both those consoles, I don't think I would be as into games now if it wasn't for them, because then I wouldn't have experienced a gem like Joe and Mac too. But yeah, for me, it really is a toss-up of when in my childhood I played those, but those I have very, very fond memories of. Yeah. And are both consoles that, like, without them, I probably wouldn't have played games the way I do. They were my first time really experiencing games and stuff like that. So I think I'd give it to Super Nintendo, but Sega Genesis also had like a lot of Battletoads, which I've talked a whole bunch about. I played on Sega Genesis. And then there's more recent stuff, like with the 360. I think the 360 era was when I stopped viewing games in terms of these are 360 games, and I stopped tying the experiences I had with games to consoles.
Agree.
Unless it was an exclusive. So that's why, like, for both the 360, PS3, Xbox One, and so on and so forth, it's hard to ever put those for me as one of my favorite consoles because I don't tie the games I play to those consoles.
Dude, the 360 was just, it was remarkable. But like I said, for me, Mega Drive, like, I've said this before, I'll say it again, like, without Streets of Rage, boy, that was a whole movement. Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, Bejeweled, Shinobi, like, those games, those are the games that made me a gamer. But I think the 360 is the reason MC Fix it is. That's where I discovered IGN. That's where I discovered, like, video game YouTube and all that stuff. Like, that's when it became a different world. Like, because you got to remember, I was a casual. People don't realize this about me. Like, you can probably tell in certain regards because I still play a hell of a lot of FIFA, still play NBA. Like, I was a casual, but I still dabbled in more games than my friends. So I would still play the odd game here or there, and they're like, what the hell is this? Like, why are you playing this? And the thing we forgot about, and it's 100% the 360, Matt, it has to be, because I'd never played more games in my life until Gamerscore was a thing. And I'm talking about everything. I played... If a game had easy gamer score, it was over. Shout
out to Viva Pinata.
Shout out to King Kong. Shout out to Avatar the Airbender. Shout out to... I could keep going. Like, I'm talking about... There was an NBA game that gave you 100... I think it was like 106 gamer score. And I was so angry. Because it messed up my numbers. So then you had to go and find a game that would get a 4 gamer score. It was... 360 is heads and shoulders above everything. Yes. Has to be.
That King Kong game was dope. Yeah. And I would put 360 up there as well because fucking great controller that is basically just only tiny bit iterated on each time and still stands strong.
I don't know. The Duke really.
Oh my
really
god!
competes
Get
with
out of
it.
here. We won't do our top 5 because we've gone long enough. We'll do that. Maybe we'll save that for another question. Top left. Ask it again for maybe next week or the week after. But yeah. Oh man. So. Oh damn. That's brought back so many warm memories inside of me. Do you know what I mean? Like memories I've forgotten about, but now I'm like, oh yeah, I did do that.
You know what I really enjoy as well? Like when I booted up Fable 2 the other week and we talked about it, just seeing the Xbox 360 UI in there.
Yeah.
And like when you, I still appreciate
the
that.
Xbox logo swerving through your face.
Yeah.
Big. Let's jump into what's been in our box. Kresh, we'll kick off with you. What you been playing, dude?
I've been playing a little game called Overwatch 2.
Oh.
Yeah. I've been
beta.
playing quite a bit of it. Yeah. The beta. Watched
good?
my 4 hours of a stream to get into it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I really like it. I forgot how much I actually enjoyed Overwatch. Because back then I did play quite a bit of Overwatch and haven't played it in a while.
Yeah.
I personally like the changes they've made. I like one less tank. I do think I've seen a lot of people complaining about the Overwatch 2 labeling and how there isn't a lot different. And I do think that ultimately, like, I disagree with the complaints, but I also agree with the idea behind them because it's Blizzard's fault for calling it Overwatch 2.
Okay.
Because you get the game if you have Overwatch 1. And so where a lot of the complaints are like, this isn't new and all this stuff is like, you're not paying for the game. So like those complaints, like they're not trying to get you to buy it, but they're valid complaints because Blizzard set them up to get complained on by calling it Overwatch 2 and trying to ship that. But I like it. I like the change to tanks. I like one less tank. I feel like it changes the game enough where the game was very, very defense heavy before. It feels like it's a lot more fast paced, which makes the game feel funner. Biggest complaint is that there's not really any changes to support characters, but they've already talked about like that's stuff that they're looking into and things like that. Yeah, I like the new maps. I like the new game mode. I do think there's some balancing issues with some of the changes that they've done, but it is a beta and some of that stuff will get changed.
Okay. Am I coming back? Are you gonna force me back in?
Are you fixed? You were never in to come back.
It's a fair statement. Matt, what have you been playing?
Still chugging along with Elden Ring. Sorry I didn't stream everybody on Monday night, but I wasn't feeling very good. But I'm still chugging along in that. Still really enjoying it. Jumped back into I Am Fish again and almost threw my controller through a wall, and so we're not going back into that game anymore.
Okay. Fair enough.
God, it got too much. And I started a little game that you both very thoroughly enjoyed, I believe, called Tell Me Why.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And me and Emma are playing through it now. And I think we've finished the first chapter and all in. Really enjoying it.
Now go watch our podcast with Laura.
I should do that.
Tell Me Why released perfectly in the week-to-week basis.
Yep. Agree.
It was such a good release schedule for that. It was like a TV show where I was excited every time. What was it? Friday came up or Tuesday? I forget what day it released.
Yep.
No, it was so good.
I agree. If you're going to do episodic games like that, release it week to week and be on Game Pass. So there's no barrier to entry at all. Yep. I 100% agree. So you're enjoying it though, Matt?
I am enjoying it. Very much so.
Okay. I've got a lot of questions, but we can't.
Maybe, then let's do it.
No,
maybe we do a post-show segment when I've done with it.
That would be good. Yeah, that'd be good. I've been playing some games as well. I say games. I've been playing a game in particular that I think the audience will care about. I finally started Tunic, which so I want to say who said last week? I think it was who was it last week that said that this game shouldn't be compared to like Dark Souls and Demon Souls type games.
I said Elden Ring.
Okay, so I can't speak on Elden Ring because I haven't started that yet. Almost did, but decided against it. But go on.
My comment last week wasn't denial of the similarities. My comment last week was based off people crediting Elden Ring for Tunic.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, it wasn't that there aren't similarities and there aren't like stuff that are similar in the two games and how they approach it. That's not what my complaint was.
This is 100% a Souls game. Let me tell you like that now, yeah? Like, I'm only an hour in, and it tells you nothing, which I think's amazing about it. Again, remember, I'm usually not into the whole not understanding what it is I'm doing, but I think they've done a really good job of the little pamphlet type catalog thing that you pick up as you go along. I'm so early on, there's no spoilers here, so don't worry. And it's like I'm looking at signs and I can't read them because they don't make sense, and I'm like, I'm actually intrigued to like figure out how am I going to do that. And I've gotten to, you guys will understand this, I've gotten to the first boss that's protecting the cave. So I've not beat him up, I've not beat him yet, but I skipped around him to then go get my sword, to then come back to fight him again. I lost again, but I'm enjoying it. And I'm like, I can see why you guys enjoy these type of games now. In this instance as well, it helps that it's a cute fox in a beautiful world with beautiful soundtrack, with beautiful art. Like, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm not getting frustrated yet when I die. So I'm enjoying it. I'm sure that will come. I'm sure I will get frustrated, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm like, I can't get past these trees. And then so I had a bad guy hit one of the trees with his sword. And I was like, I need a sword. Okay. So then I'm like, then I found the sword. I started chopping trees. It's all those things, And I'm just enjoying it. I'm having a really good time with it. Will I beat it? I don't know. It depends how hard it gets. That's the only thing that worries me.
Does this make you more intrigued to jump into Elden Ring at some point?
No. Even 1% more. I will jump into it because I have to, but no.
I'm just saying, you said cute quite a bit with the fox and settings. I'm just saying there's some cute rats in Elden Ring.
No, I'm good, yeah.
They got these glowing eyes. Oh adorable little fellas.
No, I think it's knowing that this is a more digestible experience. I've got to imagine this is 20, 30 hours max, I would say, like depending on skill level. Elden Ring, Matt's still chopping away at 100 hours in or something. So you could play Elden Ring faster.
100%.
Matt's like going for like everything, if I'm not mistaken.
And what I would say is, I've only really come up against 2 bosses where I've got really frustrated in Elden Ring. One was last night. And that might have been because I was ill, but so my head wasn't with it. But they've both been optional bosses, and so you could absolutely skip out on those guys if you wanted. And yeah, so far I'm not really frustrated with Elden Ring. So I think you'd be okay.
Maybe we'll see. But for now, I'm playing Tunic. It's a very good game.
Love it.
I'm not gonna say too much, but yeah, it's very good, very very good. I'm enjoying it a lot. Matt, what about? Wait, who do we get? Yeah, Matt. What about? No, are we done? We're done.
We're done it.
We're done.
I was looking at.
He was thinking about Tunic.
I was thinking about Tunic. I'm not gonna lie to you. Well, let's jump into this week's dashboard. Big piece of news that came out of absolutely nowhere, and we've had more and more and more information come out from this as well, and it makes even less sense the more you find out about this. So Embracer Group has acquired Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, and their studios from Square Enix. Long story short, Embracer Group has snapped up Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal, and a range of familiar of their Western IP, including Deus Ex, Tomb Raider, Thief, Legacy of Kain, and 50 back catalogue titles from the Japanese publisher. So for people who don't know what Embracer Group is, these are the same people that own Koch Media, THQ, so they own a lot. And they're very smart about it as well, because I didn't know what Embracer was when I saw this news drop. I had to ask someone in my chat, and I was like,
This is when I asked last week for.
This is what you meant.
This is what I meant.
Yeah.
THQ.
Yeah. I agree. They bought all these IPs for $300 million to be paid out in cash once the deal fully closes, and that should be by September 2022. Canada Why is Square Enix so dumb? They can totally get more money from their Western IPs. Another question coming in from Toplift saying, are you surprised that OTS Embracer Group buying Square Enix Studios opposed to Sony/Microsoft? Boys, where do we start? Number one, Matt. Why are they so dumb? What's going on here?
I don't understand how money works anymore. How is Tomb Raider not worth more than 300 million? Based on all the buying of stuff we've seen lately.
Because it's not. It's not as long as Square Enix is making it. And I think Square Enix knows that.
But, Kresh, okay. I just went to a Tomb Raider experience.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about, like, Tomb Raider's got fans. Like,
I'm not saying it doesn't have fans. And I'm not saying it doesn't make money. I'm just saying, like, you guys are forgetting, like, the production cost to make a game. That's something that Square Enix won't have to pay anymore. They're getting $300 million flat. It's not something that's paid to them over time, because sometimes when studios are bought, it doesn't come in right away.
Yeah.
It's also the 1,100 employees that now Square Enix doesn't have to pay for. Now Embracer Group has to pay for.
Yeah.
It's also Square Enix sucks with their Western titles.
True.
They are horrible with them. So, like, where people are saying this is stupid, is this the best deal ever? Like, no, I think Embracer Group got a steal, but it's also not as outrageous as people are making it seem for Square Enix to offload this.
Okay, I got some numbers for you. So from 1996 all the way up to 2018, when the last Tomb Raider game came out, how much money do you think, how many units do you think Tomb Raider has sold?
It's 80-something million.
You looked it up?
I saw this earlier.
88 million units.
Yeah. Huh. 38 for the new trilogy, I think it was, and then there's something like 53 million for the mobile stuff.
Yeah. Huh. I would have said it was way over that.
I would have said it was way over that.
Yeah. And that,
people overestimate
yeah.
Tomb Raider. And you have to remember that, like, with the last Tomb Raider game, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, like, that is assumed to be the worst Tomb Raider game of the bunch. So for Square Enix, from where they are,
of the trilogy, okay, yeah,
yeah, that's what I meant, of the bunch, not of like everything.
Hey, you're making some sweeping. I was gonna say you played the.
No, I made no sweeping statements. You just assumed from what I said. You just assumed more than what I said.
If you say a statement of the bunch, that assumes every game.
Yeah, no, the Square Enix made. That's what it would assume, not the ones that came before Square Enix. Why would I make that comparison?
I just like to clarify for the audience, Crush.
That's a good reason. Clarification is great. But yeah, it was like Square Enix. I'm not surprised this happened. I'm kind of surprised it didn't happen sooner. Square Enix doesn't do great with making and marketing Western games.
Yeah.
We've seen that time and time again. And also, like, I feel like a lot of the Western games they produce tend to be higher costs to make than some of the Japanese games they make that are like smaller JRPGs and things like that.
Are we surprised that Xbox didn't have a nibble?
Right now, no. Not right now with the Activision stuff going on. I'm not surprised. And it's also like, if somebody else other than Sony's buying them, I'm not surprised that Microsoft's like, we don't have to go super hard for that.
True. They still get the titles on their systems.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the only IP here worth buying is Tomb Raider. Sorry, I said it.
You could make an argument for Deus Ex, but like, I feel like that hasn't been hot in so long.
No, Tomb Raider is the only IP here that I would have went, oh my god, Xbox have bought Tomb Raider. Deus Ex, don't care. Thief, never been good. It has a nostalgia of the old games, 100%. And then Legacy of Kain has a cult following, but no, Tomb Raider, yes. But this doesn't stop Xbox from getting a Tomb Raider exclusive, just so people are aware. They could easily partner on this, and they have done. They partnered with Square to get a timed exclusive off of, which was a very weird thing to do back then. But they did it nonetheless. I'm not surprised. What I am surprised about is, what I won't be surprised about, I should say, is when Sony buys Square now. Because they've cleared out all the crap IP. They get to just buy the stuff that they actually care about. And that's perfect. I was
talking to someone yesterday, and that's what they mentioned, that like some people are speculating that's one of the reasons that they offloaded this. It's easier for them to sell to a company if it's all from one place. Because now Square Enix is just Japanese stuff.
Yep.
Other than I think Avengers doesn't go through just yet until the deal's over with Disney.
Yeah.
And whatever deals they have like that.
I think there's a couple of games they've still got publishing for, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
There's a couple. I think it's like you said. I think it's Avengers. I'm struggling to think what that.
Galaxy possibly because the Disney deal.
I'd imagine so.
I think Outriders is in that list as well.
No, Outright. Oh yeah, crap! You're right.
Outriders is in the list as well. Yeah. But yeah, Avengers. Like if you guys are Avengers fans, I would start saying your goodbyes because I think once the deal's up with Square Enix, you're not getting more out of that. Especially like if not, I don't think they're putting up another deal with another company to get more stuff to be made for that.
No, that's dead. It's dead. Yeah, Sony are buying them. I want everyone to know. Sony are buying them. Sony are buying them. Okay, don't think this is not happening. This is 100%. I'm in my head. It's 100% happening. Maybe not yet.
How would you feel
Maybe
about
not
Sony
yet.
buying them?
I'm fine with it. To be honest with you, it'd probably do me a favor. I've always said this. Like, cool. Like, you already do these weird deals anyway around Final Fantasy. I just want to know, if you're giving me more reasons to turn on my PS5, I'm always happy. That's all I want, is reasons to turn on my PS5.
You know, the funny thing is, if Sony buys Square Enix, it creates a whole nother competition between the two that sort of didn't exist before with Microsoft buying Activision. Now it's World of Warcraft against Final Fantasy 14 as well. It's just funny. They keep finding themselves in these predicaments.
They're trying to get away from a war that they just keep bringing themselves back to. Next up, Skull and Bones gameplay leak shows combat on foot, exploration, and more.
No, not on foot combat.
No, I didn't say that. I said shows
you said combat on foot.
No, that's not what I said. Listen to what I said. I said shows. It's a gameplay league shows combat and on foot.
You didn't say that.
But I did a pause. Either way, it's a comma. On foot exploration. I said this was going to be on foot. I said this. I mother trucking said this. No one listened to me. No one heard me. No one cared. Where is it?
This is not.
Pull it up.
This is not what you were selling. Unless
pull
Matt disagrees that this is what you were selling, I don't feel like.
Read it.
I feel like this is you being disingenuous to what your argument was.
No,
I'm gonna read it.
You misunderstood me.
Look at your face. You know that you're being disingenuous to your argument.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What did I say? For those who don't know, if you're new to it, if you're new to the My Xbox and Me podcast, I'm pretty sure me and Matt P had a bet on this. And I said there would 100% be on... Well, I didn't say on foot exploration. I said like on foot. I don't know my exact wording. Chris wrote it down. Third person action stuff.
Action and adventure.
Is that what I said?
Do you consider like walking through hub areas and stuff like that third person action adventure?
No. I'm not, if that's all this is, if that is all this is third person walking through a hub world, no combat at all, I will concede. Because that would be disingenuous of me. But
it is looking in your favor for right now.
It's looking in my mother trucking favor. I don't care if the guy can throw a cannonball at someone. That is action adventure. That's action. There's action there.
So what if it's you're walking around and you're solving puzzles on like an island or something? Do you consider that action adventure?
I think we're being very flippant with the word action adventure, but like that they do in the awards. This would go in the action adventure category, all right? And that's where I was 100%. That's where my brain was going.
Okay, so then, question: do you want to leave this up to the video game awards on whether you get it?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
No, because then it has to be nominated. Otherwise, we're all screwed.
Then we're all screwed. Yeah, true. There's no way this game gets nominated.
As long as it's not, you never know. This year, action adventure games. There's a lot of good action adventure games.
There's a lot out there.
Well, we don't know when this is coming out, to be fair.
So, let me keep reading. Gameplay from Ubisoft's Pirate Games Skull and Bones has leaked online, giving us a look at several mechanics, including navy combat and on-foot exploration. In this version of the game, Skull and Bones gameplay revolves around a hub area, similar to the tower from Destiny 2, that the player will frequent in order to craft items. That seems actiony to me. Visit shops, Seems actiony. Take on missions and so on. The hub world called Saint Annie, I think I said that wrong, is the, quote, the center of the pirate activity, and thus where players are encouraged to socialize through emotes and organize their teams up to 3 players. Guys, I think I'm going to win a bet, finally. I generally think I don't think I am going to win a bet. I know. The more and more, I haven't actually seen this gameplay yet, which is a shame.
I haven't either. It got pulled right away.
Yeah, we'll do.
I wasn't able to find it.
You saw it, Matt?
I saw bits. A lot of boat action.
I mean, that's good. That's good.
Some cutscenes of people jumping from boat to boat. And so we'll see.
I heard the jumping from boat to boat, and I haven't seen it, so I don't really know how much you've seen. But from what people were saying, is the jumping from boat to boat is they jump to the boat and then they play a cutscene and then you're back on your boat.
Actiony. It's an action cutscene. Super actiony.
Yes, exactly that, Kresh, is what I witnessed.
Got it.
Yeah, we'll see. This game's been in development for 8 years, guys.
Wild.
It's
gonna be a crazy
no. You know why that's even wilder? Because that tells me how long I've been in the industry now. Because so when was it shown? If it's been in development 8, when was it shown? 7, 6?
Yeah, I guess.
Gotta be, right?
So Skull and Bones was revealed 5 years ago in 2017.
Okay, cool. There you go.
And suffered delay after delay, and has reportedly been in development for 8 years.
Wow. Is it going to be good?
No.
You don't think it can even satisfy the audience that it's going for?
Who is that?
I think the people
There's
who
people
love
out there that love Sea of Thieves. There's people that love Sea of Thieves.
I don't think it satisfies Sea of Thieves people. I think it satisfies the group of people who really enjoyed the boat combat in Assassin's Creed and who would have loved this right after they played Black Flag, which we've mentioned before. Like, this game's just too far gone to like capture the audience that I think it would have needed to, even if it is good. And I think there's a possibility that it comes out and it is a good boat combat game. But how many people want a boat combat game right now?
I reckon this is going to do well. I've got a really weird feeling. Yeah, I don't know. Ubisoft are Ubisoft number one.
Question.
Yeah.
Do you think it goes free to play?
No.
No. They got to recoup the cost, right?
They have to. 8 years. 8 years. They've got to make some of that money back. No way. And microtransactions are not going to cover it.
Do you think it's a full $60 game?
Yeah.
Got it.
Do you think it's like a big Sea of Thieves-y like multiplayer thing, or
no?
Co-op or multiplayer?
I think there's gonna be. I think we're gonna be able to. All 3 of us are gonna be able to get together in our ships and go and fight a bunch of other ships. I don't think we're gonna be on the same ship. Yeah.
Which makes it'd be weird if we're all 3 on the same ship, but we're not moving around.
Exactly.
And there's no third-person aspect to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
If it's a big Sea of Thieves-y, like the 3 of us can get our ships together and go fight another load of random people with ships and shit, are those ships NFTs?
Moving on. The long-delayed Prince of Persia remake has a new studio. Ubisoft has announced that Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake is now being handled by Ubisoft Montreal, who created the Sands of Time trilogy. The project was originally in development over at Ubisoft Perm and Ubisoft Marbella, 2 of the company's studios in India. Quote, the decision is an important step, and the team, building upon the work achieved by Ubisoft, Prima and Marbella, will now take the time they need to regroup on the scope of the game to deliver you the best experience this remake of an all-time classic when it's ready, said in a statement on Twitter. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say this. I know this game is beloved by people, but an all-time classic. Yeah?
Pretty good game.
Yeah?
Good game.
I would call it an all-time classic, yeah.
Wow.
I think it's moving out of like the the mind space for a lot of people, but like you have to remember at the time, like if you look at games that came out in that period, it would for sure be one of the top games and considered a classic of that period.
This was one of those PS2 games I weren't on board with. I weren't feeling it at the time. I was too busy playing FIFA. I was like, nah.
Casual gamer, you know.
I was casual gamer, hardcore then. I was. I can't lie. Last story is one that matters to me a lot, and I'm sure to anyone who enjoys FIFA. FIFA is finally starting testing crossplay. Crossplay is finally arriving in FIFA 22. Quote, in the near future, end quote, for players on PS5, Xbox Series X, and Google Stadia. But it will just be for tests now. The feature allows players to play together online regardless of platform. Will only be introduced in a testing stage, however, will only be available for online sessions and online friendlies. EA hasn't said when the test will begin or how long it might last for.
Question.
Yes.
Does online seasons and online friendlies mean no FIFA Ultimate Team?
Yes, it does mean that.
So does anybody give a shit about this?
There's still people that care. Yeah, I think you got to remember how casual an audience FIFA is, and to be able to just play. Imagine. I know you and your friends are playing shooters, but imagine it was you and your one best friend who he happened to pick up the PS5 and you happen to pick up the Xbox, and you both love FIFA, and you just can never play against each other unless you're sat in the room with each other. Now that can be gone. And I think the reason this is in testing and it's going to be like this is because they're waiting to implement it into the next game. So they could come out with FIFA 23, which we think is the last FIFA, by the way. Until, because obviously the rights are gone. Yeah. So I think this is them trying to get goodwill with the player base as well, EA, where they're like, look, we finally figured it out. And then the reason as well with Ultimate Team that makes it harder, Matt, is the markets. So the markets are the player market is very different across Xbox and PlayStation and PC. Really? Yes, the price of players are all different across all three platforms. So it would kind of be unfair to put crossplay out there because some players are cheaper to buy on Xbox than they are on PlayStation, etc., etc. So for the next game, I reckon it's going to be one marketplace across all three. So it allows them to test this out. They got it working, and then go from there.
Yeah, I was going to say that this is just a test right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if Ultimate Team ends up being in the cards for crossplay. Not for this game, but in the future iterations of it. Yeah.
I would love to see the numbers of how many people are playing on Stadia.
Yeah.
It can't be many.
I'd love to know just the numbers of people who are playing Stadia, period.
Yeah,
but then again,
that's what I mean.
I got myself, as you know, shout out to Koch Media, they sent me a Quest 2, so I finally have VR. And I was thinking that about this. I was playing a game, and I saw the pricing for some of the games, and I was like, how many of us are actually playing on the Quest, though? Like, is there that many of us out there that are playing Quest? I don't know.
I think at least in comparison to Stadia, there is like this hardcore VR community, right? Like VR chat.
There's a hardcore Stadia community, bro.
Is there?
Yes. The Nerf Report, a friend of the show, Nerf Report, he is on Stadia, let me tell you. He gets hate from the Stadia community sometimes. Like, that's how you know there's a community when there's hate, all right? That's how you know. So, there definitely is. There definitely is.
Fair enough.
I don't get it. Like, surely they own a console as well, but oh man, do you remember watching the Stadia?
Those pesky downloads.
Do you remember watching that Stadia conference? I remember, man. I remember and being like, oh, maybe this could be cool.
Well,
watch a YouTube video and then play the game right out. Oh, dude, that it all sounded too good to be true. Really,
dude,
like
it
too
did.
Good.
I use Xbox Cloud Gaming. Like, I'm all for the cloud gaming future. I believe. Just Google just fumbled the ball.
Obviously. I see what he did there. FIFA ball.
I don't think there's anything Google could have done to make Stadia a success other than buy studios.
Buy studios, invest in first party.
Yeah, but investing in first party is sort of like the issue Microsoft had. Yeah. Where, like, it takes too long. You have to buy studios at some point.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they don't have a Game Pass, right? You pay.
No, you have to buy every
You have to
single
buy
game.
all your games.
I'll be honest with
That's
you.
how they fucked it.
That was the big thing with the Oculus when I put it on my head. I was like, oof. Damn. I've got to buy games again.
Yeah, no demos.
Well, I downloaded a couple of demos. But yeah. And Haley's used it more than me, but she refuses to buy a game. She keeps watching YouTube VR experiences. And I'm like, help me out here, woman. But she's strange.
So you're going to say something else. Keep watching.
No.
Something else.
No. You're disgusting. Let's plug, and get ourselves out of it. Matt, you can plug first, you animal.
Go to the YouTube channel and hit subscribe and hit the bell and leave comments on YouTube videos, because we always talk about how you can leave questions in the Discord and Twitters, but you can also do it in the YouTube comments. True. And there are several points in this video version of the podcast, where I am laughing hysterically, and you'll only get that if you go watch the thing.
The thing. I love it. Chris, what you got to plug this week?
I want to shout out everybody who's been leaving questions for like the last 2 weeks. I haven't had a need to ask for questions in Discord. They've been just dropping them throughout the week. Sure. I love that. Keep it up. It's fantastic.
Don't mess it up now, everyone. Don't mess it up now.
I'm not putting that much pressure on you guys. If you guys got no questions, I'll be there to remind you.
Go drop a review on the podcast if you can. If you're new around here, we didn't speak about it this week because I checked my one and I had nothing.
I checked too.
Yeah, I'd love it if you guys could go and review us 5 stars over on Apple. I don't care if you have to grab your nan's phone, your uncle's phone, your dad's phone. I don't really give 2 rats who it is. Go and drop us a 5-star review and leave us some actual feedback on how we can improve the show. Segments, suggestions, we are looking for it all. The My Xbox and Me Discord talk part in the channel, we are always looking at that. So if you have suggestions for the show and things you'd love to see us do, we are willing and listening to you. I've been MC Fixer. That's been Kresh. That's been Matt P Video. And until next time, we will love you, leave you, and see you all later. Goodbye.